Okay, so I did the last video that I was showing everyone, and it had 4 hours and 4.5 hours roughly for the dry cycle. Decided to come down just to take a look at it because I like playing with new toys, and there was about 3 hours left. But the clothes inside looked like it was dry, so I said, well, what the heck? So I paused it. It was too hot to open, so it cooled itself down about 5 minutes. Opened, and the clothes was actually completely dry. Not over dry in any sense, but perfectly dry. So about an hour and a half for that load. So I've actually fooled around with a few settings here. I'm going to do some lights, towels, socks, and I'm on the settings now of, can't really see it, but synthetics with Ecobubble with 60-degree water, 2 rinses, 1000 RPM for the spin speed, and I actually did the dryer instead of covered dry this time. I moved it to time and did an hour and a half for dry time because that seemed to work before, so we'll try that again. So overall time, that tells me now before we start, is 3 hours 16 minutes from wash to dry. So we're going to test this out to see if my theory is correct and that it only takes an hour and a half to 2 hours to dry things. So we'll see what we can do with that. Now the fastest spin speed I can get on this is 1000 for this specific cycle. That's fine. So what we're going to do is this time I used actually, take a look in here, some powder detergent this time, and just regular fabric softener. So let's try this and let's see what happens if we can really see the Ecobubble working. So we're going to go ahead and start it. And hopefully we'll get to see the bubbles. So I'll take that and post this video as well. Just kind of a guess and play to see what's going to work best. As a lot of people say the drying takes so long, 8 hours for a full cycle. Well, it does say 8 hours when you start some of the cycles, but I think if you mess around with a few things and tweak them, like I said, the hour and a half dry time was perfect for the clothes. So I don't think that should be a problem. So we're going to try it now and see what happens with a hour and a half dry time and total cycle time of 3 hours 16 minutes at 60 degrees. Since it's white, it's a little bit hotter water. And yeah, and right before this though, I also did try the air wash function, the deodorization, and I had a sweat top that I was smoking with tonight. I put it in with a dryer sheet, and it came out actually smelling completely fresh. So there you go. So there's the I believe that's the Ecobubble there. Let's see if it's gonna bubble up. What I think it does is I think it wets the clothes first, and then the soap afterward, so the bubbles can penetrate the clothes better. But definitely wanted to show people online that if these things work, then you can make the best use of your machine and not have to wait 8 hours for a full, cycle from wash to dry. So let's see what we can do. See right now it's just filling. Water is just filling. But I was quite shocked that when I came down and there was 3.5 hours left on the drying cycle, but I opened it and the close was dry. It was actually drier than our ASCO condenser dryer dried the clothes. And they weren't dry to a point where they were, burnt clothes, I guess you could say, but they were perfectly dry, soft. It was very, very gentle. There was no tangles or any creases, wrinkling. So very, very, again, still very impressed with this machine, even after this is the second full load. So we'll see how it goes. I know it's a little bit hard to see with the glass because of the reflection, but we'll see if we can see some bubbles happening and see how that works. But we might not be able to see the bubbles as they, I believe, come in from the bottom of the drum, so they might be absorbed by the clothes underneath, and we won't be able to see it. But it definitely works, because the first load that I washed came out very, very, very clean, and I have to say quite a bit cleaner than, like I said, the ASCOs. So. For about 3 minutes now. What I'm going to need to do is get a tripod here for the phone. I think I have one upstairs, and let it sit here and do a few cycles and make it a little more stable. I do see a few suds at the bottom of the drum, but it's kind of hard to see through the camera here, so I don't know. But it's obviously working as intended. See, if you can see there at the bottom, there's some setting right there. That's the bubbles that are coming up through the bottom. When the drum stops and there's no close, you can actually see it. Hopefully you can see it again. But there's clothes in the way right now, so we can't really see it. We may have to do, just for the heck of it, just one load with maybe one towel and soap, so we can actually see the bubbling a lot better at the bottom there. Now, granted, I think a lot of maybe people online when they do the reviews that say their clothes aren't being dried, is I'm thinking that they actually stuff the drum completely full to barely close the door, and then they, of course, the machine can't dry that amount of clothing, so it probably will just go and go and go and go and never come out dry. So I think it's really imperative, if you do want to do the whole wash and dry cycle completely, that you use the mark on the door that says how much you actually need to put in, which is the 7 kilos, and no more than that. If you're just going to hang things out to dry, then stuff the drum full and use the full 10 kilos. But I think that's the problem people are having with this particular machine, that I've read complaints that it doesn't dry. Because, like I said, the first load dried completely dry. Even pockets in the jeans, everything was dry. So, and I think dried better than the previous Yakko we had. Because a lot of times, it would come out and socks would still be wet and damp, the clothes would be dry. And this seems to be a very uniform dry. So, I don't know. Don't see too many suds, but it just could be it's been all absorbed already by the clothing. Well, I'm going to stop this video for now. We didn't see too much of the suds in the Ecobubble, but it's just going to do its wash, and I'll try to grab one of the spins, just so you can hear the actual, how quiet it is at spin speed. This is going to be only at 1,000, but the 1,200 is pretty much the same in terms of noise, but I'll try to get everything and try to do every different cycle and show it to everyone. And if anyone has any requests of what else you might want to see, or what has worked and what seems to make it quicker, because we all need our laundry quicker the better, right? So, and these little icons here flashing, it took a while to figure out what they all are. The first one, obviously, it's washing. The second one would be a spinning, the way the t-shirt looks. The third one would be the rinsing, and then the fourth one is drying. So I figured out what the little timer is, but I'll try to read up on it and try to figure that one out, and just go from there. So, but I'll let you go now, and I'll make another video to go along with this for the spin for this